Whenever someone assumes that they won't have to pay taxes once they retire, they're often in for a rude awakening. Taxes are tough to avoid, even if you're not bringing in a paycheck. But it's not quite impossible to strategize for a tax-free income. Here to help, we have Safe Harbor President Cory Sickles in this sponsored segment. Hi, Cory.
Hi, Robin.
All right, so first of all, planning for this is vital, right? You kind of have to start in advance in order to get that tax-free retirement, right?
Yep. Yeah, you really do. You know, one thing I always stress is a financial plan.
Right.
Right. So it kind of goes the same way. Is when we kind of work with our clients with that financial plan, a big part of that is how are your investments, how are you invested from a tax standpoint? Because one of the things that we want to be able to try to do is create some type of strategy when you officially do retire that you have as much tax-free income as you possibly can. And, here's one thing I always hear. And that is, well, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket when I retire. I hear that. That's the number one thing I always hear. And 80 to 90% of my clients are in the same tax bracket. And we're in this. We're paying the lowest taxes we've ever paid. So odds are they're going to go up as we kind of move on through the years here.
So then let's talk about some of the options then. What are some ways that we can set ourselves up for that tax-free or even just to lessen, that big tax burden we're going to have?
One of the easiest things you can do is if you contribute to a 401k, this is something to really ask your employer, because we're seeing a lot more of this, and that is they're offering you the ability to do what they call a Roth 401k, which means you put after-tax money, so you're going to pay taxes now, but all that growth and all that growth over the years is going to come back to you tax-free, and when you do take it out, it's tax-free. A more common one I think a lot of people are aware of is a Roth IRA. Yeah. Right? For this year, if you're under 50, you can do $6,500. Or, if you're over 50, you can do up to $7,500 per year. But there's also sometimes there's some income limits on whether you can actually contribute to those as well. But those are probably the two most common that people really should take advantage of.
And I think in the last few years, at least, I've heard a lot more about people doing the HSAs, right? Yes. And that's at a lot of employers.
That's exactly right. So with HSA plans, really what you're doing is you're preparing later on in life for medical expenses. Right, so you can do up to $7,750 for 2023 as a family if you want to be able to contribute into that.
Okay.
The nice part about it is with a lot of these you can invest it. So you can actually open up your own brokerage account, invest it the way you want to, try to get as much growth as you can, and then if you take it out the right way, for medical expenses, it comes back to you tax-free as well, in retirement. And
you mentioned, too, kind of the $7,000 number. A lot of these do have limits, do have parameters on them, right?
They do. And that's why I think it's so important, you work with an advisor. They'll kind of, we'll work with you to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Not putting too much in, maximizing what you can actually, put into all these things, because it is kind of complicated, especially if you're trying to do it yourself. That's really what we're there to do. And, the one thing that you can also put money into that has no limits, and that is life insurance. So a lot of people aren't aware of that because they say, I don't want a death benefit, but at the end of the day, we're not doing it because of that. We're doing that because it can grow and come back to you tax-free as well.
Yeah, there's different ways to utilize the tools that might not be so obvious. And the other thing a lot of people wonder is Social Security. So on those benefits, are they going to be taxed no matter what? And what's kind of the reaction to that?
Well, if you're married, if you actually make over $32,000 in retirement, where you're taxed, up to 85% of your Social Security is going to be taxed. So in most cases, yes, it's going to be taxed. And if you don't plan for it, there might be a way for your Social Security will not get taxed because you have all these other types of diverse investments coming back to you tax-free.
Okay, so you got to know about those things, and I feel like that's probably half the battle, right? Is that people don't realize all the tools they have.
That's right, and my job is to work with clients. But more importantly, it's to educate them as well. I mean, people need to know why are we putting investments in certain things. And at the end of the day, we're trying to make a better retirement plan for them. And that's really the best way to be able to do it, is work with an advisor that can put together a diversified financial plan.
All right, Cory, then what's it like to get started with your team? What can people do?
Well, the easiest way is you can always call us at 614-760-0670 or visit our website at safeharboroh.com. When we meet, all meetings are complimentary. There's no obligation, and we have locations in Dublin and Easton, and it's really an easy process that we can, that we kind of guide you through in order to put together that financial plan.
Yeah, and make sure you have all that, so then when you retire, you're not paying 90% of
Right.
it to Uncle Sam. There you
right.
go. All right, Cory, thank you.
Thank you.